Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely wild. We're going to set the stage for a rigorous academic defense of a truly radical, unifying physics theory, the non-local, high-dimensional energy universe. Now, what if I told you that we're exploring a concept that could literally rewrite everything we think we know about reality? Seriously, we're going to walk through the theoretical gauntlet this concept actually has to survive to be validated. We're talking about taking the macroscopic, mind-bending rules of Einstein's relativity, combining them with the visionary ideas of Nikola Tesla, and running them headfirst into the deeply weird, microscopic world of quantum mechanics. And we're doing it all using the bleeding edge of mathematical geometry. It's a massive intellectual journey, so let's just jump right in.
Here's the roadmap for today. We'll start with relativity and Tesla, move into quantum and geometry, look at three core formulas we already know, pinpoint the incomplete part, and wrap up with the next mathematical steps.
All right, Section 1, Relativity and Tesla. Let's look at the macroscopic validation.
So, for a century now, physics has been locked in this intense debate. On one side, you've got Einstein, who gave us curved space-time and a very strict cosmic speed limit, the speed of light, right? On the other side, you've got Tesla, and Tesla vehemently rejected the idea of empty space. He believed in a dynamic gravity that operates within a continuous energy sea, where matter isn't just some solid point, but more like a localized whirlpool of energy. Well, this new high-dimensional theory actually bridges the two. Think of Einstein's strict speed limits like shadows moving on a wall. They are absolutely rigid rules, for sure, but only for that lower dimensional projection. Meanwhile, Tesla's vision of an unbroken, continuous energy sea perfectly describes the higher dimensional reality that's actually casting those shadows.
Tesla once profoundly stated, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And you know what? He hit the nail on the head. He passionately rejected the idea of point particles, this whole notion that the universe is just made of tiny, solid, microscopic marbles. This perfectly aligns with our high-dimensional model, which views what we call particles not as solid objects, but as continuous energy wave packets. They're just vibrating and resonating within a much larger, interconnected geometric space.
Moving on to Section 2, Quantum and Geometry. Let's shrink down to the microscopic realm.
In the quantum world, things get weird fast. Take the famous double-slit experiment. An electron seems to pass through two slits at once as a wave, but then instantly collapses into a single point the exact moment we measure it. Traditional physics really struggles to explain this kind of instant teleportation across space, but quantum geometry offers this wild architectural blueprint. What if those two distant points are actually touching in a higher dimension, kind of like a microscopic wormhole? If that's true, spatial distance in our 3D world might just be a really convincing illusion. That spooky instantaneous connection makes complete sense because in that higher dimension, the distance between those points is fundamentally zero.
Now, today, quantum geometry basically has two competing heavyweights. You've got string theory, which requires a pre-existing 10 or 11-dimensional background stage for tiny strings of energy to vibrate on. Then, on the other hand, you have loop quantum gravity, which argues there's no background stage at all. Space itself is woven out of interacting quantum geometric nodes. The beauty of our unified high-dimensional theory is that it borrows the best from both factions. It utilizes string theory's concept of dimensional projections and holographic dualities, but it pairs that with loop quantum gravity's beautifully woven network where distance is, at its base level, zero.
Section 3. Three core formulas. Let's look at the mathematical proofs we already have.
The first piece of hard mathematical evidence is the Sky-Meyer mass formula from topological field theory. This literally proves that mass isn't a chunky, solid object. Instead, imagine a continuous energy field twisting and tying itself into a knot, kind of like a tightly wound rubber band. The math here calculates how many times it's looped around itself, so what we actually feel as weight or inertia. It's just the resistance of that specific geometric knot as it moves through a higher dimension.
Next up is the Ryu-Takayama-Nagy, or RT formula, which comes straight from the bleeding edge of string theory. This brilliantly links quantum entanglement directly to geometric area. It tells us that the solid structures we see all around us are essentially just the holographic surface area of a microscopic network of black holes and wormholes operating in a higher dimension. So structure itself is literally just woven geometry.
Finally, we have the amplitude-hedron formula. For decades, physicists thought particles were basically just randomly rolling dice to decide where to go and when to instantly collapse. Well, this formula throws that completely out the window.
It proves that quantum randomness is an illusion. It's actually a perfectly smooth, continuous geometric rotation, happening in a complex, higher-dimensional volume. It just projects down into our lower-dimensional view as a jump that seems random.
So look at what happens when you stack these three together. Modern physics is quietly stripping away material reality. Mass is just a knot. Structure is a network's area. Randomness is volume. It leaves absolutely nothing but pure topology and geometry. The physical world, as we experience it, is mathematically dissolving into pure shape and form.
Section 4. The incomplete part. Let's talk about the missing link. So the ultimate unified equation hasn't been fully written yet, but we know exactly what it has to do. It needs to perfectly balance our low-dimensional illusions, mass, structure, and randomness, with the hidden high-dimensional geometric invariants that are actually running the show: knots, area, and volume. If completed, this single formula would seamlessly bridge the tangible world we experience every day with the continuous geometric order that dictates the universe.
Which brings us to a pretty obvious question. With all these incredible proofs just floating around out there in the academic world, why haven't the Nobel laureates simply put them together into one equation? What's the holdup?
Well, the holdup isn't the math itself. It's the architecture of modern academia. You've got topologists in one building calculating mass. String theorists are at a resort in Geneva calculating area. And particle physicists are underground at the Large Hadron Collider calculating volume. Because of extreme academic siloing, they literally don't speak the same mathematical language, they don't read each other's papers, and they sure aren't going to the same parties. The pieces of the puzzle are scattered across disciplines that simply do not communicate.
And our final section, number 5, next mathematical steps, the roadmap to unification.
So if a future Einstein wants to crack this open and totally shock the scientific establishment, they have a very specific gauntlet of 3 mathematical steps to run. Step 1, prove exactly how a frictionless, high-dimensional knot creates the physical drag we call inertia in 3D space. Step 2, prove mathematically that a microscopic network of wormholes won't just instantly collapse or evaporate on itself. And Step 3, build the final bridge proving that those seemingly random, faster-than-light quantum jumps are undeniably just the smooth, continuous rotations of an object existing in a higher dimension.
We have covered some truly incredible ground today, traversing from Einstein's relativity and Tesla's dynamic gravity straight down into the deepest mathematical cuts of quantum geometry. But I want to leave you with a profound, lingering thought. If this mathematical gauntlet gets fully validated, if everything we touch, feel, and experience as mass, solid structure, and random chance is literally just a geometrical illusion cast by a continuous, high-dimensional energy field, then what does that make us? Are we just complex topological knots observing other topological knots? It completely redefines reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the explainer. Keep questioning the structure of your universe.